Welcome back, Chapter 12. Eva checked her cell phone once more, then walked out of her office to her assistant's desk. Yet again, she paced back and forth absent-mindedly before turning to go back into her office. Paused, then paced back out. Is there something you need, Eva? You've been out here 3 times already. Are you all right? Her assistant just asked, her dark brows drawn together. Honestly, you don't look well. Are you sure you're up for your second date tonight? Eva paused in her pacing and looked at the young woman. She was sweet, not long out of school, always on trend with her style, but still professional. Wide-eyed and eager, but sharp and in no way a slacker. She felt lucky to have her. Today, though, she looked at her and felt something different as she took in the girl's appearance. When she had interviewed her for the job, Jess wore her long, natural hair twisted in a neat dreads that flowed freely down her back. Today, the dreads were pulled up tightly into a bun, mimicking Eva's own style. She remembered admiring the girl's offbeat style with her skirts and modern tops, but today she wore slim black pants and a cream twin set. The only remaining hint of her true bohemian nature was the delicate nose ring twinkling in her left nostril. Even her shoes were neat, spectacular pumps that looked like they strangled her feet. Looking at her now, part of Eva wanted to tell her to loosen up, not to allow the job or the pressure to conform to take away who she was. Eva had settled into her role as a nondescript pleaser long before she was just age. It suited her. It suited who she was and what she did for a living. She played that part well, but she didn't want to have a hand in grooming another stiff, nondescript people pleaser for the future. Eva, Jess prompted, did you hear me? Eva blinked and made a mental note to figure out a way to approach the subject with her. No, she said to Jess, who looked at her with confusion. Eva shook her head. I mean, yes, I'm fine. I'm thinking on my feet about all I need to get together and the Gardenia account. I hate that their meeting had to be moved because of my ridiculous shooting schedule. It was an excuse, of course. At that exact moment, she was really pacing with nerves, not over the impending date tonight, but over the fact that she would once again see Aiden. It had been 4 days since they'd gotten together and made that pact. So yes, she was a bundle of nerves. She was an expert at putting on a mask, but she didn't think she could quite pull off hiding her feelings once she saw him face to face. Jess waved a hand. Oh, don't worry about them. They were fine with coming in on Monday. Hey, you're the celebrity now. The phones are ringing off the hook. Now that your segment has aired, everyone wants a meeting with you, and the clients understand that you're getting booked up. Eva grimaced. Don't remind me. What a disaster that segment was. I looked ridiculous up there on that wall and throwing those balls. Geez, what a mess. Oh, stop. It's all over. You look like a black superhero on that rock wall, and that guy was clearly a jerk, but you handled him perfectly. Now you can just relax, and here's hoping that Prince Charming is right around the corner. She smiled, or at least on the next date. Jess looked down, then picked up a file and handed it to Eva. But if you don't mind, while you wait for your car, can you look these over? They need your signature for the Lush Cosmetic event. Eva took the file. No problem, and thanks for taking so much extra work on while I'm dealing with this silliness. When this is over, I'm giving you a spa day. You deserve it. Hey, it's my job, Jess said with a grin. But that is really nice of you. Eva narrowed her eyes, taking in Jess' sensible pumps. The clunky heels she used to wear were a thing of the past. And you should loosen up, she said. Take your hair down. If I've learned anything from this ordeal, it's to be more of myself and less of what's expected. Go ahead, Eva. Jess' smile went wider. If you say so, boss, though I don't know what Val would think of that. Oh, I know what Val would think, but I'm your boss, and it doesn't affect how you do your job. Sitting back at her desk, Eva checked her phone one more time before letting out a sigh. Geez, Corey had not yet replied to her text. She shook her cell next to her ear, then put it back in front of her face and stared at it. No response from her BFF to the cryptic "I've gotten under one" call out, and worse still, nothing back from Aiden since he left her apartment. God, was she really being that girl? The thought made her lip curl. It was so infuriating. She was a full-grown woman and a top sought-after Manhattan PR exec. She should not be hanging by the phone like a teen waiting on an invite to a prom. And yet here she was, waiting, and barely able to concentrate on her job because of the will he or won't he call sirens going off in her head. But still, it was weird and infuriating that she hadn't heard a word from Aiden since their encounter. She chuckled to herself. The thought of such a whitewashed word made her think of her mother, her cool, sanitized euphemism for the completely amazing night of sex would make her mom proud. But still, that word or not, received no word from Aiden, didn't sit as well as it should have with Eva. She pursed her lips and let out a long breath as she swiveled her chair around, taking in a view of the city stretched out before her. She guessed that Aiden was following her directions. You couldn't fault the man for that, and he proved on Sunday night that he was very good at following directions. Eva got a shiver and unconsciously bit her bottom lip, just about as good as he was at giving them. Relax, kitten, I got this. The memory of his deep voice was enough to make her cross her legs, not to mention the memory of how good he looked in his raw masculinity, so sexy as he quickly stripped, throwing his clothes aside without a care for the expensive material or no hint of shame in his body. She couldn't help the unwelcome comparison to Kevin that came to her mind. Kevin was classical in his good looks, but for all his talk about wanting to get so-called adventurous in bed, he never once got half as passionate over her as Aiden had, never let himself go as Aiden had, and never had she let herself go as she had with Aiden. Eva's cell phone buzzed on her desk and her eyes shot open. She blinked, half surprised to be hit by the brightly lit Manhattan view and not her own dimly lit bedroom where her mind had wandered. She glanced at the phone and saw it was Corey finally getting back to her. Her heart sank for a moment, but then it bolstered. Hey, at least she's still ranked with her friend. She swiped at the screen. Sorry, been crazed here with impossible clients, but love you and will call you in the evening my time. I sure hope you got under means what I think it means, and it had better have been with a new man and not asshole Kevin, because I've already written him out of the friend will. Love you, C. The quick note from Corey gave Eva her first real smile of the day. She found all sorts of emojis at the attachment to the text that had Eva laughing out loud. There was a bed, a horse, a cowboy, and for reasons she couldn't get her head around, what appeared to be roller skates. Corey would have to explain that one, but she was still thinking of how happy she'd be when she heard about the under and the whom. Well, Eva knew she had to survive on that for a while. Thinking of surviving brought her thoughts back to Aiden and how she was going to survive without another taste of him. She specifically told herself she would not care if he called her, that it was better if he didn't. And now here she was practically losing it, awaiting his call. And for what? All because he'd given her the best orgasm in, well, forever, and then repeated the deal 2 more times? That'll do it. Eva put her head in her hands and once again cursed herself for making up those stupid rules. They were in a lovely post haze with him laying his beautiful head on her breast and her running her fingers through his soft, totally finger-runnable hair. And of course, her being her, she couldn't just leave well enough alone. No, she had to go and ruin it by letting her overthinking mind slip in and snatch away their moments of bliss. It was quiet. He was relaxed. She was satisfied. Why couldn't that have been good enough? You know, I meant what I said. The words came out quicker and gruffer than she intended. Why is it I know where you're going with this, Miss Ward? She took a deep breath. So we're back to Miss Ward, not Eva. Isn't that where you're about to take me? Back to business? I can tell by your tone. She thought for a moment. Really, it was for the best. Well, you're nothing if not perceptive. I'll give you that. I'm sorry, but this can't be more than this. It has to be this one night, no more. Besides, I say we both, to our mutual satisfaction, taken care of what we needed to here. She thought he may have laughed at that, but he went no further. So maybe she heard wrong. So Eva continued because if she stopped, she'd lose her nerve. There are rules, and we can't break them. The stakes are too high. At least for me, they are. And I'm sure you like to focus on your job at hand. So what's done is done and can't be repeated. Wow, women play themselves like that. Especially when it's good. Okay, she was finished. She said her piece, and for the most part, she was proud of herself for getting it done without unnecessary messy emotions. They coming. But he was quiet, too quiet. And for a while, she didn't know if he had fallen asleep until he leaned forward and ran his tongue along her neck in a long stroke, at the same time bringing his fingers between her already damp, swollen folds. His voice was as a close whisper in her ear. Fine, kitten. This is your show. You call all the shots. But nothing starts until the night is over, and we still have hours left before the sun rises. Get her, Aiden, get her. Eva's phone buzzed again, letting her know a message had come through. She looked down and was instantly annoyed that her betraying heart was speeding up. It was from him. She swiped at the phone and frowned. It was a group text. Call update. Base team to meet at Talents at 5 p.m. sharp. Team B will meet 6 p.m. at Bachelor 2A AW. Eva felt her nostrils flare as she reread the little text for a third time. So, now she was the talent? She slammed the phone down and ran a hand across her forehead as she tried to look at the figures on the spreadsheet in front of her, but the numbers blurred. Like she said, it was a win-win for him. Fine. If she was the talent, she showed him just how talented she could be. See what I mean? I knew they was going to be going back and forth. I said it because been there, done that. Aiden put his phone down and ran his hand through his hair, rubbing irritably at his scalp. Fine. Let her take that and see if it was good enough for her damn professional rules. Oh, is this how men think? Okay. He just gotten out of his third boring meeting of the day and was about ready to snap someone's head off if he didn't get out of this damn office soon. But no, his father had him scheduled for yet another glad handing session before he could escape. He leaned back in his chair and turned toward the window. Normally, he enjoyed the view that spanned from Midtown all the way to Lower Manhattan and One World Trade. The view used to bolster him, make him think of the city, the excitement of it, and all the stories to be told in it. But not today. Today, all he could think of was one woman, one story, and how she was so close but still maddeningly out of his reach. He wondered if she was even fazed by the group text he sent. Oh, you gonna find out. Probably not. Why should she be? It perfectly followed her set rules. For all he knew, she might not have even seen it. Maybe her assistant was monitoring her phone. She made it clear after they made love, though he was sure she wouldn't call it that, had sex, gotten busy, hooked up. Aiden shuddered at all the sayings that paled in comparison to the night they shared. No matter though, either way, she made it clear after they handled their mutual multiple sexual transactions that she was through with him. Aiden shook his head and laughed, though he didn't feel like laughing at all. God, he was really wimping out on this one. What was he doing getting so wrapped up in a woman who couldn't care less about him beyond what would be considered a one night hookup? He felt his frown deepen. But really, why was he mad? Was he mad because he wanted her? Or was he pissed because he wanted her to want him as much as he wanted her? Again and again. The woman was good in so many more ways than what she was showing on the small screen. It was days later, and all it took was a thought to bring her taste, her smell, her feel to the forefront of his senses, and he was supposed to let all that go without a backward glance? Aiden shook his head. He could say one thing, that Kevin was a damn idiot, because if given the choice, there would be no way he would have walked away from her. Too bad he didn't have a choice. Eva had made her feelings perfectly clear. They were just temporarily. A modern day scheduled booty call with an expiration date on top of that. That is, if he ever even got another chance with her. Aiden felt his jaw tighten. Shit. If he told his boys about his so-called mess, they'd probably tell him to stop his whining, that this was a reason to celebrate. Then would buy him a round of drinks to his success, while Carter would tell him to get ready to saddle up to go out on a hunt for the next conquest. But he didn't feel like going on a hunt or celebrating or any of it. The fact was, women like Eva were a rare find indeed. There was a quick succession of knocks on Aiden's open office door, and when he turned, he came face to face with Carter, as though he had mentally summoned him. He gave his friend a quick nod. What's up, C? Carter walked in with an easy smile, looking cool and polished as always. Just passing through, wanting to check in and say the first day was eaten up by the viewers. This is going to be a huge win for us. He made a small fist and pumped the air. Aiden thought he should smile too, but at the mention of the date and the reminder of one to come, smiling was the last thing on his mind. Of course Carter was quick on the uptake and noticed it. What's up? Please don't tell me there's a problem with filming or the next date. Our ratings are booming, and if we keep up the pace and level of interest, I'm hopeful we can take over the top morning spot by the wedding. The wedding. It was scheduled for only 2 months away. Eva married to some stranger. Keeping his expression impassive was a true challenge at the moment. Excuse me. But he had to do it. There was no way he was letting any of his true feelings show to Carter. In no way he was ruining this opportunity for him or the show. He smiled what he hoped was a convincing smile. Nah, there are no problems. The dates are set though. I hope they go a little better than the last meathead, and we can find her someone to actually connect with. Carter raised a brow and snorted. Not likely in the time frame we have, and come on, with her tightly wrung disposition, I don't see us finding someone up to task to get her to loosen up without the incentive of liberal booze and or cash. At that, Aiden couldn't hold on to his temper. Now that's going too far. We're playing this as by the book as we can. We've already upended her life enough. The least we can do is be on the up and up with the guys. Carter put up his hand. Okay, Sir Knight, cool your heels. No need to get testy. You're in charge, and I'm staying out of the things. He shook his head. Listen, I've got to run. You keep playing the Boy Scout, though. It looks good on you. Drinks later this week? By way of reply, Aiden answered him with a low grunt and gave him his back. Freaking Carter. If he wasn't his friend and he knew, loyal to him through and through, he definitely wanted to punch him out. At that moment, Aiden didn't feel like much of anything. Not drinking with annoying friends, not sleeping, and definitely not grinning and bearing it through another board meeting and being the perfect face of the next generation at the network. The only thing he wanted to do was the thing he couldn't, and that was to hightail it as quickly as possible back to her apartment and that overly decorated suite bedroom that he had no business feeling way too comfortable in, and burrow deep between those sainty thighs of hers, where he had no business feeling way too at home. He had to think of the network and what was best for the show. The fact that they were inching up in ratings and closing in on their competitors was something even he couldn't ignore. Santy thighs be damned. Aiden let out a groan as he shifted in his seat. The thought of her thighs had made him instantly uncontrollably hard. But damn it if she wasn't delicious as hell. Just the thought of her thighs, lips, ass, hell, any part of her, even her voice when she was pissed at him, made him hard. It was just her. Not to mention that she shocked him to the core with the way she had laid out on her countertop, offering herself to him in a way that no one else ever had, in a way that he knew was all her, not just given, but taken too. And he wanted that, wanted to give her a part of him he never had given anyone before. Oh, but it was a mistake, just like it was a mistake trusting that informant, and Aiden should have picked up on it. He should have seen it in the informant's eyes, just as he should have seen in Eva's that he was getting into dangerous waters with the first exquisite dip between her thighs. That was when he should have run while he still had maybe half his senses still intact. But being the fool he was, he didn't. No, he took it all the way, acting like he had it together, taking it on as a challenge, wanting to see how far he could take the ice princess. Well, the joke was on him. Pearls on or off, she was no ice princess. The woman was as hot as they came, taking him to unimaginable heights with her uninhibited lovemaking. The way she molded and fit to his body made him think ridiculous thoughts, like she could possibly have been made just for him, as if there were any such thing. Yes, she took him all the way, but when it was over, she sent him packing. He had gathered his discarded clothes and made his way out of her apartment and into the dawning New York morning, walking on uneasy legs that they were not accustomed to walk of shame. Ooh, she had used him as a placeholder for all the men who pissed her off, and he knew it. He knew it and went with it, and knew that if given the chance, he probably would do it again without hesitation. That's probably what gnawed at him the most, what really pricked at his soul. Yeah, he'd been screwed and was being screwed in every possible way, but he had to work his way around it. He had to find a way to make this work for to his advantage somehow, and maybe the answer was in the rules that Eva had so ingeniously set up from the start. With a deep breath and a newfound resolution to handle Eva as he would any other assignment if he was handling it smartly, Aiden stood up to get ready for his next meeting. She was right. Sticking to the plan was the best way. An appropriate distance was the safest choice for both of them. On the way out the door, Aiden reached back and grabbed his almost forgotten phone, telling himself that checking for incoming messages was only being professional and had nothing to do with one Eva Ward. Okay, that's the end of chapter 12. So, I know they're going to be going back and forth with this power struggle. They're going to get it together. I have faith that they're going to get it together. And I think Carter know, and I think that other lady know, and I think she's going to tell Carter if Carter don't know, and it's going to be a big thing that's going to blow up. We shall see. So see you in the next chapter, chapter 13. Bye.